In From Russia with Love plus 10, we covered the Red AI Cube technology, and it revealed more of what I was looking for and to be able to connect the dots on what has and is unfolding. And as a reminder, we will repeat stated earlier for easier and better dot connecting. The Red Cube AI technology is designed to be a genetic code crasher for anti-herogamic union, which is the logos, the sun and the planetary being, or to create interference through an alien love bite scenario that engages that person in heavy emotional dramas via the victim-victimizer archetypes and mistaken identity by keeping the inner and outer gender principles split apart. And it capitalizes on the astral damage and mistaken identity, confusing identities so the target cannot tell who is who, what are the false timelines and imposters versus the authentic identity. And the targeted person can mistake AI digital twins inserted into their hologram as their twin soul or whatever else that can be included to interfere with integrated spiritual ascension by confusing them with mistaken identity or hero-savior archetypes. And this includes the target believing that there's some special identity from an inserted digital twin or a cloned ascended master in their light body, in which this clone runs the AI red wave false feminine violet programming and or other artificial frequencies, which is quite common in the New Age circles without negative ego training and victimizing clearing. Now, the New Age circles has done much damage to those who sought differing forms of enlightenment outside of the church doctrine. In came the violet flame, the crystals, peace and love, kundalini, spiritual culture, the Indian guru culture, and other various damaging terms, none of which was beneficial. If it was, this world would be a better place. And we have covered some of that in earlier From Russia with Love episodes as well. And we did a piece on low self-worth and insecurity being an epidemic on this planet. And this is what plays into this program. People falsely elevate their worth to cover for the lack of self-worth. People who seek attention via ego are invariably hiding the fact that they have low self-worth and self-esteem, and this has plagued us all throughout our lives. Low self-esteem and the feeling of worthlessness brings in the limitation program we all imposed upon each other and also ourselves. The little me program, who passes themselves off as helpless, which then rolls into another epidemic of the people, victimhood programming. It often amazes me how some compete with others, that somehow their life is worse or has been worse than everybody else's. And that is the pity attention program, and allows the victim and victimhood programs to flourish. And yet so few speak of what they have, what they have done, what they have learned, gained or developed, yet curiously can reel off with far too irregular occurrences of how bad their life is, how much bad luck, what they have lost, what they can't or haven't done, what they haven't got, and then run guilt and shame programs on those around them. And it's all one giant energy harvesting program that we all run on each other. And yet the bizarre thing for some who wish to develop in the higher frequencies, yet wished to hold on to this program, which is a low-level frequency, how can you develop higher with lower vibrational programs running through you? The answer is you can't. And it's the same in effect as smoking a low vibrational plant and expecting it to elevate you in higher vibration. And that's not happening either, no matter how much you complain or rail against my comment about it. If that plant and the smoking of it was also beneficial, with record numbers of Americans smoking it in the past 30 to 40 years, where's all the higher vibrational people then? The stolen azurite genetic template was replicated and cloned through AI quantum server systems, and these AI hybrid race lines are known as the Azazel Gestalt. Now, the Azazel Gestalt gain access onto the earth through human beings that act as their proxy as a dark consciousness portal, and thus they seek out any starseed or indigo individual. Personally, I don't like those terms. With the azurite genetic memory record in their bloodline, and attempt to possess and gain control over that individual through any means possible. And sometimes genetic coding can be triggered by another into developing into the whole. Thus, the firm warning stands that under no circumstances should the awakening starseed or indigo people attach to any identities and become fixated upon them during this cycle. This is why I don't talk about past lives. The people who they all claim to be this god, goddess, princess, etc., etc., etc. Well, if that was the case, what are you doing about it? I've been linked with names of the past. Whether it's true or not becomes irrelevant, because the focus is on me in the now, in this lifetime, not that I was some god or goddess or whatever other else they come up with. It has no bearing. And the war to clone and generate imposter identities from the Ascended Master collectives and all levels of the original Christos race lines is at an all-time high during the current consciousness war. And the Azazel black hole entities have taken on the original azurite genetic coding from Gaia and have made an AI replicated body which may appear to be similar in appearance to the original azurites. And these imposters can appear in their outer form as tall whites, tall slender humans. They're not humans, they're humanoids, with extremely pale white translucent skin and many times with platinum white hair. The last two presidents had platinum white hair. Just saying. And these entities masquerading as ascended masters in tall white human-like bodies are some of the most violent and vicious anti-human black hole entities ever known. Now, the tall whites resemble or are what we call albinos. Remember the flagellating guy in the Angels and Demons movies, or the Watchers in the series Fringe, or the Ori in the Stargate series, Ori, and the jinn equals origin. And that's what we are looking at here. And once we can discern AI signals and Metatronic coding in data streams, only then can we find out these Wesser entities have been using AI replicated clones to manipulate our emotions and past memories to hijack our original angelic human genetic template. And this AI weapon is cube technology that is used as a cloaking device for the NAA to parade false identities and generating phantom pockets, which is just like the astral, to hide the many layers of hierarchies that form into the Wesser shadow armies. And the Red Nile or Red Cube AI programs are used by assorted Black Sun entities, Borga, Dragon Moth, Marduk, Necromyton, Enlil, Odicron, insectoids, red spider arachnids, black dragon gestalt, and assorted lunar female demons. Hello, Lilith. And the Borga from the black hole system inserted this virus with AI programming into our matrix, creating a time rip with technology called victimizer software. Now, the victimhood program is heavy in many due to the low self-worth, insecurity, and also unbalanced ego. And those with heavy ego are masking low self-worth and insecurity by overflating their worth externally. And perhaps by now you will all understand my frequent warnings in shows surrounding technology. This is how dangerous it is on the higher levels, and it's just as dangerous at the lower levels, as many have succumbed to its seducement. Video games are a major component of it in this reality now, as they were inserting you into the metaverse reality and distorting what is real and what is not. In the October 28th show, Expose 10 and the follow-up from Russia with Love +8, we spoke of the metaverse and the digital twins and their clownery surrounding technology. But what were the coincidences of the establishment revealing more of that in that week? And this is what Facebook had to say when they announced that they were going to hire 10,000 people in Europe to develop the metaverse. The fact that they're developing it in Europe should be a key pointer. You want a hint? From Russia with Love. And this is a concept which is being talked up by some as the future of the internet. But what is exactly is it? What is the metaverse? And to the outside it may look like a souped up version of virtual reality, but some people think the metaverse could be the future of the internet. In fact, the belief is that it could be to VR, virtual reality, what the modern smartphone is to the first clunky mobile phones of the 1980s. And so instead of being on a computer, you are in it. It's a bit like looking at or in the mirror. Same concept. And in the metaverse, you might use a headset to enter a virtual world connecting all sorts of digital environments, unlike current VR, which is mostly used for gaming, this virtual world could be used for practically anything: work, play, concerts, cinema trips, or just hanging out. And the common sense question is, why would you need or want to do any of them when you can go and do them in the real world yourself? And most people envision that you would have a 3D avatar, a representation of yourself as you use it. That's to match the other 3D avatars that are already in here. Well, just what we needed was more split personality. And yes, I was being sarcastic. More split personality and alters people in the world. When the antidote is, how about we integrate ourselves instead of splitting everything? But because it's still just an idea, they say there's no single agreed definition of the metaverse. But it's not just an idea. They have had it a while and are waiting for the stupid public to request or demand it. That's how it works. And they say that there's a huge amount of excitement about the metaverse among wealthy investors and big tech firms. Well, that right there should tell you it will not be good for we the people. And Facebook claims that the metaverse won't be built overnight by a single company and has promised to collaborate. And it has recently invested $50 million in funding non-profit groups to help build the metaverse responsibly. Yeah, right. But it thinks the true metaverse idea will take another 10 to 15 years. I would reverse that and suggest they have had it for 10 to 15 years, or perhaps longer. Now, in recent years, that piece said, fortnight, 2 weeks. Well, it's always 2 weeks, isn't it? Expanded its product, hosting concerts, brand events, and more inside its own digital world. Roblox, for example, is a platform for thousands of individual games connected to a larger ecosystem. Let's all go green. Matrix green? Meanwhile, Unity, a 3D development platform, is investing in digital twins, digital copies of the real world. The graphics company Nvidia is building its Omniverse. One verse, one world, one currency, one government, one religion. Sound familiar? Which it describes as a platform for connecting 3D virtual worlds. And Mr. Sweeney recently told the Washington Post that he envisions a world where a car manufacturer trying to advertise a new model is going to drop their car into the world in real time, and you will be able to drive it around in the metaverse. And said perhaps when you go on online shopping, you will try on digital clothes first and then order them to arrive in the real world. Really? Perhaps we just don't buy anything off their companies. Now, VR, virtual reality, has come a long way in recent years, and it's a lot further down than people realise. With high-end headsets which can trick the human eye into seeing in 3D as the player moves around a virtual world. But it's not only tricking their eyes, but their few brain cells as well. So let's look at the word meta and see if it provides the clues. Meta is a word which came from the ancient Greeks, which are connected to the ancient Egyptians, which are connected to the Hebrew Anunnaki. And when they used it, meta meant beyond, after, or behind. So beyond, after, or behind the verse. all of which signifies the sleight of hand program. And the beyond sense of meta still lingers in words like metaphysics or meta-economy, but that's still not the meta most of us come across today. And one of the more popular uses of meta today is for the meaning best described by the formula meta x equals x about x. Is that their binary replacement for the one-on-one with the one? So if we take the word data for our x and add the prefix meta to it, we get metadata, or data about data, which is exactly what the voyeuristic perverts in the agencies have been doing. A meta text is a text about text. Metacognition is thinking about thinking, and meta joke is a joke about jokes. And the self-reflection sense of meta has also given rise to the use of the word as a standalone adjective, where meta is used to describe something that's self-reflective or self-referencing. Self-reflective or self-referencing? Bit like looking in the mirror with your avatar then, isn't it? Ponder on that closely. And the self-referencing sense of meta seems especially popular in art. It would be. And in its simplest form, a book in which a character is writing a book, or a movie in which a character is making a movie, can be described as meta. It's all a movie. Showing or suggesting an explicit awareness of itself or oneself as a member of its category, cleverly self-referential. Concerning or providing information about members of its own category, occurring later than or in succession to, situated behind or beyond. Later or more highly organized or specialized form of transformation. Metaphysics. More comprehensive transcending. Meta-psychological, usually used with the name of a discipline to designate a new but related discipline designed to deal critically with the original one, which is the organic. And it's no wonder clowns are using that word before, after and beyond. Before they die as well as lose. There is no after for them. Their only choice is deletion. And they are trying to insert themselves into a digital reality false world with uploaded consciousness technology in the hope that in the future they can reverse it. It's not happening. And it's beyond the pale. They are beyond the horizon of reality, human, evil, sadistic, perverted, and in some actions, you have to say, are beyond even Satan-esque.